Hi, welcome to our ET Talks with Richard Stellar. And welcome also our DSF president, Dr. Darlene Lobel, who is co-hosting and will be introducing Richard and helping us get to know Richard and his story.
So Richard Stellar is an award-winning Jewish journalist and founder of the Mankind Initiative, fighting racism, intolerance, and feeding the homeless while listening to the Beatles. Known best for his vituperative blogs on the rap Vanity Fair, Richard was a major player in the campaign that returned long-term care to the motion picture and television industry. His online group, Age, Activists for Geriatric Equality, connected families to elder care resources while creating a viral community. The Los Angeles Press Club awarded Richard 4 first-place journalistic awards for his explosive pieces on the campaign, including one for Best Facebook Group. Recently, Richard won 2 2019 National Arts and Entertainment Journalism First Place Awards for his articles on popular culture, inspired by the story of Kurt Loewens, a Holocaust survivor who escaped Germany on the night of Kristallnacht. Richard co-founded the Bestemming Project, a nonprofit that fought anti-Semitism through music and the arts. Leveraging the relationships that he made in his fight for elder rights, Richard brought in the Screen Actors Guild to bestow a humanitarian award to Kurt and to help sponsor an awareness event that hammered home a message against religious intolerance to a packed house at the Sabin Theater in Beverly Hills. Recognized by Israel's ambassador to the United Nations and the United Nations themselves, the fight against anti-Semitism continues. Under the flag of the Bestemming Project, Richard mentored UCLA pre-med student David Chernobylsky, who faced anti-Israeli and anti-Semitic bullying by pro-BDS forces. David later went on to publish the Zionist Narrative. Well, Richard, we are delighted to have you. It is such an honor to have you in our group. And I just must say, it is so amazing, the accomplishments that you have in your life so far. And we're excited about what is to come. But you're doing all of this in the midst of dealing with essential tremor. And I just think you are such an inspiration to the entire ET community and to the world at large. So welcome, and we'd love for you to share a little bit more of your story with us.
Well, I'll tell you, after hearing you read all of that, no wonder I've got essential tremor. You know, it kind of made me shake a little bit more. Thank you for having me, and I'm so happy to talk about essential tremor. I first discovered it when I wasn't feeling well, and I had a tremor in my hands. I went to urgent care, and the nurse said, "Have you ever had? How long have you had this?" And it was just after Robin Williams, the comic, noted that he had, I think at first it was reported that he thought he had Parkinson's. So I said to her, "It's not Parkinson's, is it?" And she said, "Well, it looks like a Parkinson's type tremor," and scared the hell out of me. So I went to my doctor, who then diagnosed it as essential tremor. And he just said, "Hey, listen, it's just something that you have to live with, and it's hereditary. But to my knowledge, my parents didn't have it, and I didn't know anyone in my family who had it. So it was something that I kind of like put on the back shelf. And as it became more pronounced, it was something that I had to deal with. And I found out that probably the most difficult thing about having essential tremor is the perception that other people have. Yeah. When they're speaking with you and your handshake, they think you're scared of something, which is, as we all know, is the furthest thing from the truth. So it's something that I've been dealing with. I do public speaking, and everything from picking up a glass of water or holding a microphone or eating soup with a spoon, all of these things kind of like come to bear that puts a focus on the tremor. And I know a lot of people have it a lot worse than I do. It's just something that I hope the medical establishment really kind of like put some oomph behind in studying it, and that's why I'm so glad to do this online event with you. I really appreciate your work in this on behalf of all of us who suffer from it.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing some of your story. Tell us, if you will, Richard, you were talking when we were talking before about some strategies that you had to help really mitigate the visibility of essential tremor. So you were, when you were holding microphones and whatnot, how you were things. I think you had some great tips to share.
Well, I call them hacks.
Yeah.
And these are the way I kind of like hack the system of essential tremor. If I'm, it's more pronounced in my left hand, as you can see. It's really working its thing right now. But if I hold a, I'll just pick up this cup full of paintbrushes and scissors. If I hold a cup like this, I mean, it's visibly shaking. But if I steady it on my hand, on my right hand, which does not have as much of a tremor, it doesn't look like I have a tremor. And this is, this is illustrative of the extent of my essential tremor. I'm sure other people, they wouldn't be able to do it. But I found that by just steadying it this way, or even just saying, hey, I have essential tremor, and if you see my hand shake, it's not because you scare me, or maybe I'm scaring you, but being upfront and honest about it also kind of like engenders maybe some support you get from an audience or from the people that you're with. The worst thing is eating soup. That is like almost impossible. And I remember I was sitting at lunch with some people. I picked up a spoon, and by the time the spoon got to my mouth, there was nothing in the spoon. And they were like looking at each other like, what's wrong with this guy? So I have no problem in picking up a bowl and just, drinking from the bowl as they do in Japan.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like say, well, I lie and I say, I just came back from Japan and this is how I'm doing it. But it's something, people have all sorts of things wrong with them that are a lot worse than essential tremor, but essential tremor is so visible. And there's such a cloud of misinterpretation that comes with it that, that we just kind of like have to support each other and learn from each other on how to circumnavigate this very visible condition.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think that, as I know you've shared, as you talk to others about the condition, most people tend to be much more accepting of it. But there's still that fear, I think, of, well, what if somebody responds in a negative way? And how would you advise people? Because you've obviously pushed a lot of envelopes in your life. So how do you personally get past that fear factor of, well, what if people don't respond the way I'm hoping they respond? I think that would be really helpful to hear your perspective on that.
Well, like anything that affects us physically, if someone responds in a hostile, negative, or ignorant way, as it most often is, it kind of it puts you not on the defensive, but on the offensive, because it says more about that person than it does about you. I mean, this is, life throws us curveballs, and it's how we deal with it. And if I want to be upfront about it and say, hey, look, this is what's going on with me, and please don't let it, deflect your attention to what I'm doing or what I'm saying, and they come across with some stupid remark or something, then you could either choose to ignore it, or like me, I would probably choose to attack it as like, it shows one dumb fill in the blank. But then it becomes more about the condition, and probably the best thing you can do is just ignore these comments and people around them who are a lot more savvy to humanity. will just think, well, this guy is like an idiot. And please go on, Richard, with what you're saying. You're fine.
Or hopefully they'll smack them.
Oh, goodness, well,
And, yeah, I don't endorse it, but I do.
yeah. We don't
I don't
endorse
either,
violence,
but-
but you know, people have their own options.
Right,
But
right.
they do. Well, thank you for sharing that. I love your confidence. And I also love the synergy between the Mankind Initiative, which I think is really has an important message about tolerance for all. And I know your focus is on a different area, but can you talk a little bit? We'd love to hear about that initiative, and then we'd love to hear about how you find the synergy between that and our fight as part of the Diane Shaddix Foundation for Essential Tremor.
Yeah, we're all fighting against something. It's I recently, in the last few years, started a nonprofit called the Mankind Initiative, where we started going from my fight against anti-Semitism, which also brings in fight against any type of systemic racism or cultural intolerance, because we are all connected by this bridge of what I call empathy and tolerance to any other community, culture, religion, race that is fighting racism or ignorance. This is what unites all of us. And so my fight, and not to get into the weeds with that, but my personal fight against the mindset of essential tremor is very linked to my fight against cultural intolerance, because we seem to be unaccepting of each other that engenders whatever condition we have. I just finished a fight with cancer.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And although that is a hidden, you can't look at someone, although you can look at someone, I shouldn't say that, there are very visible signs of people having cancer or going through chemotherapy. But what does that do to the impression that you have of who this individual is all about? We assign a color of a person as to saying this defines what this person's about. We define the way a person dresses. We define a person's sexuality. We define all these things, these surface things about people that kind of like support your own biases and prejudices. Same thing with Essential Tremor. So with the Mankind Initiative, we have recently gone into the community and we are feeding the homeless, because the homeless is like an incredibly, it's just a real bad situation. So I have never given food to a homeless person where the homeless person notices my essential tremor. I mean, they're focused into sustaining their existence. They're hungry. They need food. They're sleeping in doorways. They need a place to sleep. It's not, my essential tremor doesn't factor into their consciousness, because they are more concerned about themselves. So I think that once we kind of like wrap our arms around how the human condition is impacting all of us and working to improve the lives of others, then you'll find that your essential tremor is somewhere in the back pages of this book of your life and what you do with people. And you find it a lot more easy to put it in perspective with everything else that you're about. So I don't even think of my essential tremor anymore. I mean, I'm just too busy involved in other things. And I respectfully ask everyone who's watching this to get out of yourself and to go into your community and see where your help and your tolerance and your empathy can best be used. And you'll find that your essential tremor is just a part of you that people will accept, because you're such a great person.
Yeah.
To do other things.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think a lot of times with essential tremor and even other conditions, obviously as a doctor, I see other conditions as well. People focus on that. They focus on what I can't do, right?
Exactly.
Where are the limitations? And I think a reframe that's really important for us and for you, you've really exemplified this, is what can I do? What can I do? And you've really answered that in a very powerful way with what you've established.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up folks for questions, and would love to just open that. And we will definitely talk more about Mankind Initiative, and we do have a video to show at the end. So you guys can learn more about that as well. But I know that there's a number of folks that are on Zoom, and we're trying to bring them up right now, and then in the Facebook group who may have questions. Also, if you are on Zoom, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. If you don't want to come on camera, that's fine. I know a lot of folks are camera shy, and that's no worries at all. But go ahead, because Richard has been very kind to offer to answer questions and interact with us. So we're very grateful for that.
I have a question for him.
Yeah. Go ahead.
As a fellow musician, I'm fascinated by all the instruments sitting around you. Tell me, how has your essential tremor affected you being able to play all these?
Well, I'm not sure that if you ever heard me play, you would say this guy can't play an instrument. So it hasn't really. I'm not. I love music. I love to play music. And it has affected my ability to play, but thankfully I'm not at the level where having steady hands will make my playing any better. It's just something that I enjoy doing. I'm doing this from a room. I collect Beatles memorabilia.
Oh my goodness.
Probably all the guitars that you see behind me were the type of guitar that the Beatles played. So I kind of like, I'm a huge poser. So it looks like I probably played a lot better than I do. So, but music is to be enjoyed. And I don't think having essential tremor, although it's very frustrating at times to have it, it should not block you from enjoying what you want to do. And if someone doesn't like it, or someone like we said about making comments, I mean, who cares?
That's right. You're absolutely right.
Enjoy life. Your hands shake. I get it. That sucks. But
Yeah.
you can still hold a baby. You can still hold a guitar. You can basically do what you want and just make allowances for the fact that your hands shake.
Compensate. You have to learn to compensate.
Compensate, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to disagree a little bit. Sorry, dudes.
Okay, go ahead. That's okay. We like a healthy debate around here. That's all good. Bring it on.
I've been playing the piano since I was pretty young, probably 7 years old. And I can't now, Richard.
Yeah.
There is no way. I have a very beautiful piano I bought years ago. Special. Randy knows that one. And yes, it is difficult. I'm a self-taught piano player. I learned how to play years ago. My grandmother went out and bought me this, I call it my honky-tonk piano. It was wonderful. It still, my brother took it, but I have this beautiful piano, and I'm sorry I can't play anymore. It's got to the point, and Richard, it's like you said, a lot of it's mental. Because my mind, I start playing and my fingers do not work right, and I hit the wrong keys. And I play part by hearing because I taught myself.
Wow.
And I can't, because I'm making so many mistakes, I've given it up. So,
you know what, Diane? You telling me that is music to my ears, because it's part of your story, and the fact that you once were able to play piano, but now you have memories of the music that you made, and you're able to play by ear, which is something that a lot of musicians wish they were able to do.
You're right.
I mean, that's a beautiful story, and I'm so sorry that you can't play, but pick up a record by Stockhausen or Yoko Ono, or someone who just bangs away at the piano, and it's called unfinished music.
You won't care.
Yeah,
Right.
just make sound.
Who
Right.
cares if you make a mistake? Just do it.
Exactly.
Well,
Beethoven said that great music happens between the notes, and that's
Right.
I
I
think,
couldn't
the
hear.
passion that you have for making music, and you expressed it to me as if you had played like a sonata or something. The way you expressed it to me was beautiful.
Yeah.
well, I love music, and I'm like Cher. Cher and I've talked about that. I still love music, and it's relaxing to me. So that is a message for everybody. Keep trying, keep, and I don't give up. I'm a person that I do not give up.
Really?
But it has gotten, that's the one thing I've lost is, and Cher knows, I do not give up in life. So your
I'm sorry to-
message, is out there. We've got to keep trying, and that's what we're about. So, I don't know if we've got any questions.
Not yet on the Zoom, but I'm gonna start calling on people. So I know Stephen has questions. So
Of course.
Stephen, we're so
Uh-oh.
glad to have you join us here. Stephen is one of our loyal members. He's like a board member. He's not, but he's like a board member because he's here
Yeah.
all the time. So we're glad to see you.
Thank
Stephen,
you.
how are you doing today?
I'm very appreciative of Richard being here and sharing that about not giving up, because my area, I had said to Dr. Lobel in my interview that my whole life I was a singer, and my dad was a music teacher. And I thought that I would have to give up singing in the last few years, but I joined the church choir locally, and it's been difficult, but it's amazing that once I get through, like, say, the warm-up before a mass and I begin to sing, I seem to get my voice back, and the tremors in my head calm down. And it seems like the singing actually relieves the tension of the tremors. As you said, my mind is off of myself and it's into the singing again. And I'm beginning to get my voice back. And there's medical treatments that I'm looking into that this Wednesday, I finally, Dr. Lobel, get my first Botox treatment.
So
All
excited.
And I'm
right.
looking forward to seeing how that helps with the head tremors. And then, I'm going to look into acupuncture again and body massages as you recommended. And, I'm not going to give up on life and what I enjoy. And it is very important, as you said, to get out and help others. Because if you get out of yourself and help others, it takes the whole focus off of woe is me, and
Right.
I'm the victim. And there's others, as you said, who are in much dire straits than myself. I'm grateful for what I have. And, I've definitely gotten at the point where I've accepted my tremors and they're a part of me now. So thank you for being here and for sharing your story.
Way to go, Stephen.
Yeah, that's so good. And you know what? They may be a part of you, Stephen, but they don't define you. And I think
Nope.
that's really important,
That's it.
and I think that's a really key message. It was interesting as you were talking, and I didn't think about this when I interviewed you, but it's important. And Richard, I wonder if you noticed something about this too with music. So when we sing and when we play, it releases serotonin in the brain and in the body, which is one of our calming chemicals throughout. And as we all know, anxiety tends to exacerbate or make worse symptoms of tremor. And so I'm curious if there's really a more powerful key to music as a therapy, in addition to just being an outlet, which is amazing, right? It connects us with our soul. But as a therapeutic measure, because even, Stephen, you were saying when you start to sing, after you're singing for a little bit, it gets easier. And I know, Richard, you mentioned it doesn't stop you. And I know, Diane, you're struggling a little bit with that. But Richard, I'm curious what you think about that, maybe encouraging people to connect more musically. Even, I mean, everyone can sing.
Oh,
You may not be
music,
able to
yeah.
sing on key, but you can sing,
No. Music therapy is great. I always say that my ET gives me a natural vibrato.
There you go. There you
A lot
go.
of people don't understand that, but I think also we have to learn to laugh at ourselves and not to take life so seriously. But music is incredible. I mean, just get lost in music, and you'll find that maybe that your vibrations are part of something that's very kind of like spiritual. And although it's and please don't think I'm making light of Essential Tremor,
No.
because it is very serious. But music is something that it's just, I find it's very therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It is.
Very
And I
therapeutic.
agree, Richard. And before some of these ET talks, I listen to music just because I can't play like I used to.
You can
Right.
still
Doesn't
listen.
mean that I don't listen to the music, and it relaxes, and mine does play a lot in Essential Tremor.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to focus on other things. And that is one of the problems we with Cher knows with Essential Tremor. If we think too much, and you know this, Richard, you were just talking about that. If you think about picking up your glass, if you think about what you're doing, you shake more or you notice it more. And mind is big, and music does calm. It's the old saying, it does calm, even the beast. It will relax you. So it is really an important part. And I do want that to be out there.
Maybe that is something we need to look into more too.
That's
Seems
right.
like a nice area of research to pursue. We'll add it to our myriad of.
Yeah, really. But no, well, I didn't confess here, Richard. My parents were both musicians. My father was a composer. My mother was a professional accompanist.
Wow.
And I was a music education voice major in school.
Oh my God.
But with my mom, and Diane knows this all too well, my mother was basically like a concert pianist. She could play anything you put in front of her. And she lost her ability to play because of the essential tremor. But she also had Parkinson's too. She had both. And at 82, 84, she had double DBS. And I got to witness it because my mother went back to playing piano just like she did. But for about 5 years, she totally lost it. She just couldn't, her fingers wouldn't hit the keys that she wanted them to,
That must give, that'll give a lot of people hope. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I even have a recording of her playing a concert at the church she used to be the organist at 85.
Yeah. Talk about never giving up and never stopping. That is
Diane knows. She's talked to my mom. We used to call her the Energizer Bunny, and this one's number 2.
Now, I have found that there are types of music that if I listen to, it's not combative, but I think it's so inspirational
Yep.
that it does affect my tremors, and it must be some sort of vibration or some connection that I've made to this music, where it really, really kind of like there's something maybe in the central nervous system that responds to a certain timbre or rhythm or something that it does work. I mean, I'm trying to remember. There's this guy named Steve Hackett that did a concert in Iceland with another guy named Todd Mobile. And I'll look up the name of this thing, but it is, I got so lost in this piece that I came out on the other end of hearing the song changed somewhat, and it stayed with me, but it was just so powerfully inspirational.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that as a vocalist, the guy who sang this song was just so incredible that it affected me, and it affected me in a physical sense too, because I was like, like floating on a cloud.
You felt weak, probably too. Like just
Pardon?
you probably felt weak, like you were just kind of melting into everything.
I thought you said you probably weeped, which I did.
I bet you did.
Affected me. It was a real emotional thing. I'll try to I've got a little computer. I'll try to find the name so you can Google it.
That'd be
But-
great.
Yeah, we'd love to.
You know,
But it's
Stephen
just,
was
incredible.
yeah, Stephen was talking about being able to get his voice back. I have not been able to because the essential tremor affected my diaphragm.
Mm,
I've lost a lot of strength in it and it wobbles,
mm.
but not to the point that it gives me a nice vibrato. It doesn't let me get the air out like I need to. So it affects people differently, and it just, you never know what it's going to affect.
Yeah.
But
The name of this song I just saw, if you can Google it, it's called Supper's Ready.
Oh, wow.
Steve Hackett and Todd Mobile. It's an old song
Okay.
by a group called Genesis. But the
Oh
way
my
they
God.
present it- yeah, the way they present it is so incredible. And the last 5 minutes is where it culminates in this, like, just, it's, I mean, maybe you'll get the same thing out of it that I did, but
Well, let me tell you, Genesis is like almighty to me. So I'm sure I will.
So good.
Yeah, you're getting into Randy thinking too. That's for sure. Okay, Richard, let's discuss your foundation a little
Yeah.
more, because your foundation does blend with what we have. It's kind of being depressed, but we've had people, want to end it all. And there's people out there who just want to walk away. And that is why we both are here to talk about if we can help prevent the homeless, if we can help the homeless. And ET does affect both the homeless,
does.
and so I want to hear a little bit more about what you're doing.
well, when COVID started, I was driving, which I had to go somewhere, but I got off an off ramp on the freeway, the 101, the Ventura Freeway out here in Los Angeles, and there was a man with a sign that says, "We'll work for food, please help," and there was no traffic.
Oh,
Nobody was on the roads,
Yeah.
and I thought, "Oh my God! I mean, how's this guy going to get anything?" And so I talked with my wife about it, and we decided to take a little detour in the direction we go towards fighting racism and intolerance, to actually start feeding the homeless. So, of course, I'm an old rock and roll fan. I interviewed this guy named Ian Anderson, who led a group called Throw Tall.
you're hitting all my
And
feels, Richard.
Yeah, he did a song. He did a song called "Crash Barrier Waltzer," which is about a woman
Yeah.
who is being shushed along by a policeman, a homeless woman. And I sent him, I sent him an email through his management asking if we could use the song for a video. And not only did he give us the video, he asked to see the script for the piece, the PSA, the public service announcement we wanted to do.
Wow.
And he voiced it. He did the whole thing.
For God's sake.
And I thought, this is incredible. It got so many people who responded to it. We got on social media, did this hashtag COVID kindness, and we started distributing vast amounts of food. Then Paul McCartney heard about us. And Paul McCartney licensed a song to us called Junk from his first solo album when he left the Beatles. And that brought us in partnerships. Okay, so everything I'm telling you, okay, that's what I'm doing. But who has got time to worry about essential tremor when you're involved in these things? And I'm just like, I'm just some poor schmuck from Los Angeles who has a loud voice and who gets pissed off about social injustice. But that could be anybody. Any one of you who are, if you feel that you've been maligned because of your essential tremor, or you can't sing the way you used to, or you have all of these impediments that are keeping you from doing what you want to do, that's not true. There are things that you can do that really kind of like leverage the passion that you have for other people. Because when you have an essential tremor, you kind of like create like what we're doing right now. We're creating connections in a community of other people who have essential tremor. So we're all in this together. Yep. And what I'm doing, you can certainly do. So the Mankind Initiative, it's a great nonprofit. You can find us at mankindinitiative.org or mankindinitiative/homeless. You could see the video that we did with Paul McCartney's song. And you can just get involved, and you could always write to me at richard@mankindinitiative.org and tell me about yourself, and let's connect and let's do something. I mean, we have something in common through Essential Tremor, where we have a brotherhood, a sisterhood. It doesn't define us. It's just something that we deal with, and it's going to make, it's said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think that's one of the most horrible sayings ever, but maybe in our case, this shared factor that's part of our lives can help us to form a bond together. And that's Mankind Initiative is all about that.
Richard, let me ask you, how do people contribute and really further the message of Mankind Initiative, and what kind do you have opportunities available for people to partner with you in that? What might that look like for someone? I think people would love to hear that.
Yes, if you want to donate, we're at mankindinitiative.org/donate, and your money goes directly to our homeless program in feeding the homeless and providing. We have these mobile shelters called EDAR, EDAR, for Everyone Deserves a Roof. And
Wow.
this is a very low cost solution to get people out of doorways and off of benches so that they have a private, secure, comfortable place to sleep. That's mobile. We respect that the homeless community is a mobile community. We are defining it as a subculture. We think that there's always going to be people who are unhoused or homeless for whatever reason. And to try to corral them into our idea of society is that we don't think it's going to work. They need a lot of them need mental care.
Yes.
They need to, but our thing is let's feed them, let's provide sanitation, let's keep them safe, let's keep them from sleeping on hard ground. So we're starting off at that level, and then we're working our way up to addressing more permanent needs. But if you want to join with us in doing that, just contact me, richard@mankindinitiative.org. Go on our website. If you can throw us a donation, your money goes directly to their care. And let's find, I mean, we already have common ground. We all suffer from ET. Okay. So given that, now we have something in common together. And so let's take it to the next level and let's change the world.
Richard, question, are you starting to set up sites around the country? Because obviously you have to be where the homeless people are in most cases.
Yeah, we are starting to do that. We have a site that we're developing in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is, I mean, once COVID hit, all of the musicians,
Oh yeah,
performers,
dealers,
we call them gig workers, because
right.
they don't get, you know, they get paid for the gigs that they perform, and so once there's nobody, you know, in the casinos, they're on, a lot of them were just like 1 month away from not being able to pay a mortgage or pay rent
Oh
in
yeah,
the streets. So we're setting up a community there. But if there are homeless in your community and you want to help them, contact me and we'll help you set it up.
that sounds great.
And
I just got approached by a VA group yesterday that was telling me about something they're doing in Milwaukee. And apparently they just got 90 acres donated to them by someone that they're wanting to set up a homeless village.
the plight of homeless veterans is especially painful.
Yes, yes, it is.
Given the sacrifice that they've made for all of us, and then they're just, I mean, dealing with some of these services and is just, it's.
So many of them have PTSD, which doesn't help.
Yeah, and that's probably a factor if they have ET, but everyone needs something. I mean, of course, we need, you know, I would love to get involved in some kind of therapy or an experimental thing to address my ET. And even now, I feel it like building up inside of my voice and inside of my head. So I know how this disease progresses and what brings it on.
That's,
But
yeah. And Richard, this is what you're just now talking about, is what we have been dealing with and working with. We have had a lot of people who have lost their jobs because of ET. And this is young people. You know, one of our board members, Drew, Dr. Drew, he's discussed about his problem when he went to medical school, how he had trouble with one medical school,
They kicked him out.
Yeah, they
Kicked him
did.
out of medical school for having essential tremor. I mean, of course, this was a long time ago, but still, like, it's unbelievable what happens. Yeah.
And so we do have a lot of people who have gone that far through losing their jobs. Not, you know, that affects families all over the world. We work with people and we have story after story about that. And,
right. Well, that's why we started the family assistance program.
Yes,
it's not long term, but it could be a stopgap for somebody who may be right on that edge.
That's it. We have our suicide awareness program. We have our anti-bullying program. And this really affects all ages. And, you know, when you're fired from a job because you shake and you go home, you know, I don't care if you're the mother or father and you're taking care of a family, you know, it can get to you too much. And this is where I think we can really work together, because both foundations are dealing with that. I mean, it is mental, and you know, you get desperate, you just want to give up and you walk away. And there's so many homeless out there who just need a little extra care.
They need a leg up.
And that's really, that hits home to all of us. But
Yeah, and
essential
in the
tremor,
end, I mean, selfishly speaking, there's a lot of joy that I personally get in doing this type of work. And
I
it makes
bet.
it's an ego trip. I mean, I would never be on a panel like this talking to you if I had not done any accomplishments. I mean, who would want to hear, we can talk about, what do we talk about? Nothing. And this is what I've got going for myself. And so again, we're all connected, and it riles me that a person in medical school would be kicked out because of essential tremor, especially now that, I had a 7-hour operation on my liver that was done by a robot.
Whoa.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Oh my
robotic
goodness.
surgery, and my surgeon was, and I never looked at my surgeon's hands to see if they shook because it didn't matter to me. My surgeon was one of the most empathetic, involved, knowledgeable people that communicated to me what I needed to do, what the course of therapy would be, and was able to control this robot who,
Wow.
thank God, did its thing. So I don't know what shaky hands has to do with something like that.
It
Well-
doesn't affect your brain, really. It's like Drew is extremely bright.
Oh, he is. He's brilliant.
He's
Yeah.
brilliant.
well,
Fortunately,
There's a-
another school took him.
That's
to
good.
train him, but
I was
yeah.
wondering where he got his doctorate from then.
Yeah.
yeah, he did. But this is our message, Richard, both of us. Our message is you're not alone. Don't give up. Keep trying. And, don't let the other people get to you. And the other message is this is why we're here, because we are telling the world essential tremor is okay. It's okay to have problems. And we want the world, if you see somebody with their hands shaking or their head or voice, it's okay. We're regular people. We just
It doesn't
have
define
a
you.
problem. That's it. It doesn't define us. That's
My-
it.
Yeah.
And that's my go. And your go, I think, is a lot the same. Don't let what other people think define you.
That's it.
That's
Well said,
it.
Diane.
Well said. Well said.
One of my
Gosh.
favorite sayings is, I have essential tremor. It doesn't have me.
There
That's
you
it.
go.
That's
good.
our thing. Yeah.
good.
And you're not alone. That has
No.
been the biggest problem. Cher knows she's had essential tremor like me forever. But we thought we were alone for years. I hid my tremor,
We all
didn't-
do.
Yeah. And we did.
Yeah,
for
we all do
years.
to some extent, I think.
Yeah, I did, even for family and friends. So
That's why God
until I
invented
couldn't.
pockets.
That's right.
Oh my god.
Unless you want to eat, and then soup can get
Yeah,
you.
no soup. No soup.
Straws are a great
soup.
utility tool.
That's why I like
Oh.
Moroccan restaurants, because you can eat with your hands.
With your
There
hand.
you go. That's perfect. Yeah, everyone's doing that. So that's good.
Is- yeah,
Richard, I have a question for you, and then we would love to. I mean, Diane, obviously, anything else you have to say, but
No,
we'd love to
go
show
ahead.
that little clip of the
Yeah.
video from
Yes.
Mankind Initiative, so people can really get to see this, because I think it's
I
beautiful, and
appreciate
it shows those mobile shelters, which are just
Yeah.
ingenious.
What did you call them?
EDAR.
EDAR, I like it.
For
I
everyone
like it.
deserves a roof.
Yeah,
I
I like it.
and it's really honoring. I love what you said. It's honoring to their need to not feel confined to one location, right? because, you know, I mean, I
Ah.
think a lot of people, people like the stability of a home, but for whatever reason, people experiencing homelessness like freedom. And it is so
Yeah.
honoring. And I've never seen anything like that. So that's amazing. But my
Oh.
question for you is this. Obviously, someone who has gone through the accomplishments you have has had days when you felt like giving up, right? When you thought you hit a brick wall, when you felt like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to work? And I think if you could share with us, what do you tell yourself? What do you do in those moments? It will just be so helpful to members of our community as well.
For me, it's simple. I would be letting down too many people.
Mm.
I mean,
Simple.
we'll talk about Jewish guilt. Maybe we should do a seminar on that.
We could talk about that for a long time.
Yeah, I would just be. I do think about. I mean, every day I think, oh God, you know, what am I doing? This is like crazy. But you do it because of the people who support you.
Mhm.
Because they you set up a certain level of expectation. In some instances, you know, you look at the expectations of your children, and that is motivating. The expectations of your coworkers, that's motivating. The expectations of your friends, that's motivating. I mean, just be motivated. If you can't get motivated by yourself, get motivated by the people that love you.
That's
And
good.
Are
you'll
you
always
listening,
become-
Diane?
I know. Yeah, I hear you.
I know.
No, that's good. And I think that's so important. Why we need to understand each of us has a purpose on this earth, right? And
Mhm.
when we can connect with and find that purpose, no matter what your age is, right? I mean, there's these studies that say actually I think the 60s and 70s are some of the most productive years of people's lives. So, you know, when folks come to me and say, "Oh, I'm too old." No, you're not. No, you're not. There's a purpose. There's a reason you're here living and breathing. And when you find that and connect with that, it pushes you to just keep going. And it's so needed. It's so needed. So thank you for sharing that. Diane, did you want to, while I'm pulling up this video, do you want to share anything else
Well,
or ask any more questions? If not, it's okay. It'll just take me a second. I
no.
actually have
Oh,
this
no.
one
Oh,
right
here
here.
we go.
Oh, here it is. Okay,
Okay.
let's share it.
All right, so we're gonna play this, and music is by Paul McCartney, which we
That
do
is so
have
cool.
authorization to play. So.
Uh-oh, music.
Is the music playing?
It's the music hasn't started yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
That's one of those mobile shelters.
Bicycles for two, broken hearted to believe. She saw me sleeping bags for two, sentiment just breathe.
We're in the depths of a horrible crisis. The streets are filled with images of our society's indifference. This is what homelessness looks like. For thousands, the memories of happier times have been replaced with the reality of despair.
And it's building something old and never you. I says the sun and the shop window. I says the jump and the yard.
These fellow human beings are our mothers, our fathers, sisters and brothers, veterans, members of the LGBTQ community, especially those of color, who are twice as likely to experience homelessness. At the Mankind Initiative, we don't close our eyes and avoid. We're out there in the streets, under the freeway overpasses and besides dumpsters, offering nourishment, personal care items, and also temporary shelter. EDAR.
Wow.
EDAR stands for Everyone Deserves a Roof. These mobile shelters help lift the homeless from the streets, doorways, and benches by providing easily deployed, flame-retardant, waterproof personal shelters. We stock each EDAR with our COVID kindness food and personal care bags, and we distribute them to organizations who provide secure and safe locations that also offer on-site sanitation facilities, food services, and counseling. Please support our mission with a tax-deductible donation. This is Anne Marie Johnson of the Mankind Initiative. Please help us help them. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, it's actually it's now Sony can't give you a copyright strike because the soundtrack won't read.
Yeah. Now I
Yeah,
can't-
that's right. It didn't do the.
Yeah, but if you log on, you could hear that it's such a beautiful song.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really heart-wrenching.
Yes, you can go on the website. Okay, what is that?
Mankindhomeless.com.
That's the full name.
Well, the website is just easy to remember. We have mankindinitiative.org is our
Yes.
website.
Is the
But
main
if
one?
you- Yeah, but mankindhomeless.com will take you basically to the same website.
Okay.
Richard, I have a quick question.
Yes,
Have you
Stephen?
seen the program, the Mankind Initiative? Has it made a dent in reducing homelessness at this point, or is there still a long, long way to go?
Not even close. We've served 60,000 meals.
Wow.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and thank you. And that has not made a dent.
Mhm. And
But
it's growing.
it's provided those 60,000 meals, which has made an impact in someone's life.
It has made an impact in people's lives, but in the totality of the problem, especially in Los Angeles, it hasn't made a dent.
It's like a mosquito at this point, right?
Yeah. It's we think that we have momentum. We feel that we're on our way to making a dent, but in all honesty, not even close yet. We have so much left to do. That's why we need help.
And this is particularly in the Los Angeles area right now. Is that correct?
That's where we're located. So we're working in our immediate area, but we have, but like I said, we're going to, we have a thing going on in Las Vegas. But if you have homelessness in your community, and you want to do something about it, contact me and
Okay.
we'll work with you.
Okay.
Well, we're going to put your information out on our website, and we will start sharing more and more because, like I said, essential tremor and homelessness does go together. And this is a big battle for all of us to fight and to make a difference. It's going to be, we've got to unite. And that's my goal.
And you'll find that in fighting for others, you fight for yourself.
Yes,
it.
very true.
And
That's
that is our
absolutely true.
goal. That's our goal. And we are going to make a difference in the world of essential tremor. We already are.
Yes.
Just doing what we're doing right now
Yes.
is going to make a difference. And in the world of the homeless, we will make a difference.
There you go.
You are making a difference.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Richard.
Yes.
Wow.
What is your name, lady in the purple?
Cher. That should be easy enough for you to remember.
Cher?
It's like the singer.
Cher is a board member. And she also has lived with Essential Tremor many years, so.
Well, this
Yeah.
is, you guys are doing incredible work, and I really appreciate the fact that you included me in this.
Well,
We
thank
are
you.
so honored to
Wow.
have you here, and just thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. And we really wish you the best with your Mankind initiative, and we would love to support you in any way that we can. And
You
partner
already
with you
have,
in any way we can.
and please call on me whenever you need anything.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Richard.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Thank
Been a
you.
pleasure.
Take care.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, everyone. We will see you guys next month for the next ET Talks on April 22nd. Is that right,
Second.
Diane? Okay.
That's it.
All right. Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Have a blessed day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.